arrived back at camp after a long day hiking out on Mount Rosea, and just as we got back, the night was starting to set in. It was getting darker and darker, and we needed to set up for the night. Georgie started making a fire, Jordan started preparing things for dinner, and Sam wandered off into the bush to try and get some logs to help Georgie out. I thought I'd get some torches, get the citronella candles we used the night before, so I went back into the tent, went through Shakira, and I went into the main room. When I got in there, I noticed on our 4 sleeping mats, the 4 sleeping bags we'd left, but they were full. From what I could tell, they were full of people. I called for the others, but I could hear still talking outside, and then I screamed at the sleeping bags. I said, "Hey!" I didn't move. I called back for the others. I said, "Georgie, come in here, Jordan." No one came. Really slowly I leant down and I shook one of the bags. It was definitely a person, but it was cold and it was stiff. Slowly I grabbed the bag, I pulled it down, and I saw a face. It was Jordan. I turned around, I ran right out of the tent, straight through Shakira out to the main camp. I could still hear them talking, but as soon as I got out the door, there was no one there. The fire was sitting, just beginning to catch light. There was wraps and hummus and oranges on the table, but Jordan was nowhere to be seen. And maybe Sam was off deep in the bush, but as the dusk was setting in, I couldn't see him. I called out, no response. All I could hear was the kookaburras laughing, the cicadas and the frogs working up. I walked back inside the tent. I pulled down one of the other bags. It was Georgie. The 3rd bag, Sam. I couldn't do it. I stepped back out. I ran through Shakira. I ran out into the campsite again and I screamed. I was like, "Georgie! Jordan! Sam!" Nothing. And then it hit me. Of course, this moment of realization where I realized this was an elaborate prank. Obviously. What was I thinking? Of course, I struggled so much with the zips of Shakira and I tripped over fucking Jordan's boots that when I got into the main tent, they had enough time to go back the other way and climb into the bags. Of course. If I went back into the tent now, I would walk in and I'd see Georgie's cold, dead face start to break out into a smile. And Jordan would point at me and Sam would make some stupid remark. Of course, this was just an elaborate ruse. Those guys. You know what though? I know that if I went in there, they wouldn't be able to hold a joke that long. But I could. So rather than going back in the tent, I grabbed Georgie's head torch and I headed straight out into the bush. The dark was setting in and I just ran. I jumped over logs, I pushed past bushes, I went under caves and past wallabies and past echidnas and past the kangaroos. And I kept going and I was just thinking, fuck them. They're gonna have to come find me. They think they can play a trick on me like this? Well, now they think I'm lost. I got to a point. The dark had fully set in and I sat in a log. I was exhausted. I'd been running for 20 minutes maybe. I didn't know where I was anymore. I sat there and I thought, it's funny. They haven't come after me yet. I swear I'd be able to hear them. I'm not that far away. But nothing. But you know what? I was going to beat them. So I stayed there. I stayed there until the night had completely set in and all that was around me was possums and the cicadas. But then the torch started to fade. It dimmed, it flashed, and it was gone. Georgie didn't recharge her batteries. So now I was out there. The new moon and the clouds, meaning I was in pitch black. I started to freak out. I thought, what if they don't come out and find me? It's starting to rain, it's misty, what if they can't find me? I had to go back. So I started instantly running through the bush again, scraping my leg. I cut open my leg, I fell over, but I kept going for hours and hours and hours. I was lost. Somewhere deep in the Grampians, I was lost and alone, and it was dark and I was bleeding. And I slept. It wasn't an easy sleep. I was freezing cold, I was soaking wet, but I slept. The only way I was going to get myself back was by the light of day. And when it came, I trundled back to camp. Took me a while, but I figured it out because I'm smart like that. But when I got back, the camp was as I'd left it. The fire had fizzled out. The wraps had blown onto the floor. The hummus was a mess, but no one had been there. They couldn't be that good. Maybe they'd all just gone straight out to find me. Maybe they're all lost now. So I thought, I'm going to have to venture back out into the jungle. But this time I'm going to take my coat. So I went back into the tent. I went through Shakira and I went into the main room. And they were still there. 3 cold, dead bodies of my collaborative partners. And there was a 4th sleeping bag which I hadn't looked at yet. I pulled it down and the face revealed itself. It was me, David Finnigan. And I was like, fuck.